Recently, I found a human bone in the basement.
You absolutely did. It's a flute designed to summon demons, and there's definitely a market for that. This item is called a kangling, which is used by Tibetan Buddhists in rituals called chod. These flutes are made from the shin bone, the tibia, and they are most often produced either from a violent criminal or from a teacher. And it is believed that blowing on a kangling 3 times in quick succession will actually summon demons. The summoning is not designed with any ill intent. The whole idea is to separate yourself from your ego, because summoning those demons is actually considered an act of fearlessness, where you're inviting them to come and use you to satisfy their hunger, and it's seen as an act of compassion to give them some relief for their eternal suffering. These flutes are one of just a number of ritualistic implements used by these Tibetan Buddhists that are made out of human bone. Another one is kapalas, which are ritual bowls that are made out of human skulls that are usually highly decorative and encrusted with metal and gemstones. Now, my follower had this expertized by both a doctor and an archaeologist from the local university in Iceland in order to confirm that it is real human bone, and the appearance of it is consistent with the other examples of kanglings that I found, both in museums as well as for sale on the open market. But finding the value for this item is a little tricky because there's a lot of different factors to consider. First of all, kanglings are still being made today, and they can be bought from actual producers of them from the $800 to $1,200 range, but buying a new one definitely has serious questions about how exactly they're procuring the bones. And the market for vintage flutes like yours really has 2 different sections that you have to consider when you're looking at a price for this item. When you go to eBay and search for kangling and then sort by sold, you can find a number of comps that do claim to be human bone, and they're selling right around the $300 range. But without expertization, these are what I would consider to be raw pieces, because it would be so easy to use an animal bone and duplicate the style and create one much more inexpensively than having one made of actual human bone. I contacted a friend of mine, Josh Rawson, who's a content creator and an expert on these type of oddities, and after he turned me on to a couple of specific dealers in just this type of item, the retail value of these is somewhere around the $1,200 to $1,700 range. The reason for the enormous price difference between eBay and a respected dealer is that when you buy from somebody who is known for dealing in these kind of artifacts, you can be assured that it is going to be a genuine item, and dealers are generally going to stand behind what they sell you. Now, as far as this specific flute goes, there is a condition issue to consider. It's missing that metal mouthpiece tip that we see on all of the other kanglings of the same style. So I feel like the best way to maximize your money on this item is to approach the dealers that have those buyer base in order to get top-notch money out of an item like this. Taking into account the damage you have on your item, as well as the amount of effort it takes for a dealer to build a buyer base that is specific to these items, I would offer to dealers somewhere in the $400 to $600 range, because it still leaves plenty of meat on the bone for them to make a profit, but it also gives you more money than what you would get if you were going to sell it on the open market of eBay. I hope this helps, Carl, and make sure you check with the authorities in Iceland before you sell your item.